Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's a wonderful turnout. I'm really happy to see everyone here tonight. Without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to the Riversong String Ensemble. Please join me in welcoming them.
1, 2, 4.
are the Riversong String Ensemble. We're the Riversong String Ensemble, and we're all based in South Hills. Ron here is from Green Tree. Jan is from Bridgeville. I'm from Bridgeville. Devin's from Carnegie, and my husband on bass back there is from Bridgeville as well. So we're all South Hills residents, and we're all part of the Pittsburgh Mandolin Society, okay, which is over there. And we're here today to bring to you the music of the traditional mandolin orchestra, okay? And people say, what is that? Okay, well, way back, okay, in the early 1900s. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to ask you to bring that out. In the early 1900s, mandolin orchestras were all the rage, okay? They were the most popular way for people, normal people, to listen to music, okay, because symphony music was out of the reach of most people, okay? And so the mandolin orchestra was what was available for the common man. And I'm going to ask a question. Has anybody seen the movie The Music Man? Okay, raise your hand if you've seen it. So you guys are pretty familiar with this, okay? So if you haven't seen The Music Man, the story behind it involves a traveling salesman named Professor Harold Hill, okay? And what Harold Hill does is he goes around from town to town in America, and he sells brass instruments for boys' bands, okay? And the problem with him is he's a scam artist. Harold Hill does not know a lick of music, okay? But what most people don't know is the information that was presented in that music is actually part of American history, okay? Because companies like Gibson and Martin would go around and they would send traveling salesmen all over the United States to sell mandolin instruments, okay? And we're going to show these to you right now, if you bear with me, okay? Ron and Jan both play vintage Gibson instruments from, Ron, when is yours?
1915.
1915? Okay, yeah, okay. And Jan?
1924.
1924, okay. And Jan, actually, I have to tell you, she plays her mother's instrument. Her mother played this before she did, okay? Yeah, but these salesmen would go around all over the United States, and they would sell instruments like what these guys are playing, okay? And they, in order to create a demand for them, you know, I mean, like, who's gonna buy a mandolin? Why? I don't need a mandolin. And they would create this crazy demand for mandolin orchestras, and they were centralized everywhere. Okay, so if you were like a member of the Rotary had a mandolin orchestra. If you were an Elk, okay, the Elks had a mandolin orchestra. Churches had them, schools had them, political parties had them, factories had them. They were everywhere. And there is right now a photo circulating of the mandolin orchestra that was in existence in Pittsburgh in 1930. And what we're going to try to do today is bring to you some of the music that they played back then, which for many of you is actually your grandparents' or your great-grandparents' music, what they used to listen to. Okay. Now, the other thing is not only the traveling salesman, does anybody remember the Sears catalog? Yay! Okay. All right. If you remember the Sears catalog, you used to be able to get a mandolin in the Sears catalog for $6. That's how common they were. Okay. But it was a great part of American culture. And it existed in the early 1900s all the way up till about 1914. And does anybody know what happened then? That's correct, World War I, okay? And with the start of World War I actually came the demise of the mandolin orchestra. So, but they're enjoying a great revival now, okay? As you can see, there's actually a mandolin orchestra in Pittsburgh, and a great many people play in it. But for now, I'm going to quit talking, okay, and I'm going to bring another song to you here by, it's not traditional mandolin orchestra music, but it is by an American composer named George Gershwin, who wrote this in 10 minutes while riding a bus to Manhattan, okay? But I need to switch my instrument first, so there we go. Mine's a Gibson banjo, bought by one of those salesmen. Sold by one of those salesmen. Go ahead.
You tune? Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you. Okay, I talked a little bit about our instruments, but I wanted to go into more detail about what's involved in a mandolin orchestra. Do we have any symphony goers here? Okay, and you know how symphonies are set up. Well, mandolin orchestras are set up very similar to how a symphony orchestra is set up, okay? So you will have a mandolin one, I'm sorry, you have a violin one, a violin two, a viola, and a cello. In a mandolin orchestra, there is a mandolin one, a mandolin two, a mandola, which is the viola equivalent, and then a mandocello, which is the cello equivalent, okay? There were also mando basses, and there's one of those pictured in that picture that was floating around. It was a big honking thing, but those are actually very rare instruments because they were very fragile, and most of them have broken by now. And they included, mandolin orchestras included the guitar as well, okay? So
some of them even included banjos.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's the BMG orchestra, which we get into every once in a while. Okay, but what we want to let you listen to is how the instruments sound in tone. Okay, so we're going to have, I think Jan go show us how the mandolin sounds. Juan, can you do octave? Okay, so if there are any of you out there who play violin, okay, you can actually pick up this instrument. Your violin used to go like this, okay? If you flipped your violin around like this and did this, it plays exactly the same way, okay? All right, now I have the viola equivalent, which is a mandola, okay? So Jan, hit yours again. Mine's lower. Okay, now Ron actually has a hybrid instrument here that is called an octave mandolin that sounds similar to the cello because we don't have a cello here with us tonight, but we're going to let you hear that too.
Kind of like a mandolin on steroids.
But you can hear it's much lower, okay, in its tone. Okay, and then of course we have guitar. Okay, and then we have a bass back here. Okay, and all of those instruments combine together to make the sound of the mandolin orchestra. But now, we're going to show you how all those instruments fit together because we're going to play for you a song from 1933. And we're going to do it a little bit differently because songs that were written in that era used to have a part called a verse and a chorus, okay? And some of them had really pretty verses that got lost when vocalists like Doris Day and people like that got a hold of them. Okay, so we're going to play the verse, okay, and I want to see a show of hands if you can recognize this song by the verse, and if you don't recognize it by the verse, keep your hands down but shoot them up when you finally recognize what this song is. Okay,
And this song and I think one or two others we'll be doing are kind of from the later era, the kind of the beginning and the middle of the big band era.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Here we go.
Thanks, Ron.
1, 2, 3, 4.
guys would all know that. Okay. But now we're going to switch it up a little bit and show you what a versatile instrument a mandolin is, okay? And we're going to go in completely different directions, and we're going to play a Beatles tune for you, okay? And this one, I'm sure you guys know this. This is When I'm 64, but I don't know if you know this little piece of trivia. When I'm 64 was written by Paul McCartney when he was 16 years old. How about that?
Long way to go.
All right. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Okay. Now, one thing, while Jan is retuning here, I'll give you a little sidebar about vintage instruments, okay? Because, like I said, these instruments are over 100 years old, okay? And they're very sensitive to changes in humidity. And so periodically we have to adjust for, you know, tuning issues like this. I'll check mine too in a minute. Close enough for a banjo, as the saying goes.
Yeah, the banjo doesn't count.
Whoa, really temperamental.
Yeah.
Oh, very. Okay.
Close enough?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Close enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Whoops. Right. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Stay a little bit in the current, somewhat current for us, I guess, okay? I don't think we play anything much past 1975, but this one was actually made Bette Midler famous, okay? She won a Grammy for it. This is The Rose, okay? And this is another strange song, just like George Gershwin's Swanee, that was actually banged out in 45 minutes. That's what the composer says, Amanda McBroom. So, okay, but we will give this a shot. Okay.
What?
Okay, now we're gonna go back to the music that we play a lot of, and that's stuff that is our grandparents' music, and we're gonna play you an iconic World War II song. And this one is about a famous musician who got drafted, okay? And when he got to the Army, okay, he found out that he could not play reveille because it was just too conservative for his style.
Too straight.
Okay.
It's just too
It's
straight.
too straight, okay? So the captain assembled a band, okay, to back him because the captain felt sorry for him. And now the company jumps. Okay, all right? And see if you recognize this one. Okay, one other piece of trivia about this. Okay, actually I'll let the cat out of the bag here. There's a gentleman named Harry Gish who died in 2005 who was the model for the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. And he played at veterans' funerals until he died, okay, as the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. Okay? All right. Now this one features our bass player, Mark Smith. And Mark, if you would be kind to us and keep it at a tempo we could play that, we'd appreciate it. As bass players, you know. Yes. Mhm. Thank you. Now we're going to do a tune for you from the same era. This is 1939, okay, and everybody knows this song, okay. This is Over the Rainbow, okay, and we just think this sounds beautiful on mandolins. But I do have an interesting bit of trivia for you on this, and that was that this song, believe it or not, was originally cut from The Wizard of Oz because Louis B. Mayer thought that nobody would want to hear a little girl singing in a barnyard. And that's true, okay? And it took Judy Garland's agent putting some serious heat on Louis B. Mayer to get that put back in. But yeah, can you imagine that film without that song? You know, I'm like, what? You know, oh my goodness. But this is our rendition of Over the Rainbow. So we're going to move away from the 1940s, okay, and we're going to address a question that I'm sure is burning on everybody's mind, okay, and that is, did the mandolin originate in Italy? Everybody wants to know that, right? Okay, well, we're here to answer that question for you, okay. Stop it. Okay. Well, certainly there were mandolins in Italy, okay, and they were in Italy in about the 17th and 18th century, and in fact, names that, I know we have symphony people here, you know the name Beethoven, of course. Beethoven played the mandolin, how about that? Okay, Vivaldi, who composed the Four Seasons, composed a lot of great material specifically for mandolin, okay, but before those guys were around, okay, there were other instruments, okay? And matter of fact, Ron plays an instrument called the oud that he got at his latest trip to Morocco about 2 years ago.
Well, no, more like 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
6
it's
years
the
ago.
ancient history.
Just
of
felt
it,
like
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That ancient, well, talking about ancient history, okay, the oud dates back to 700 AD, and that is from which countries?
It's from the entire Middle East. Mine happens to be, I had it made for me in Morocco. But the oud has been around in various shapes and forms. It's kind of a pear-shaped instrument. If anyone has seen the medieval lute, the lute is the direct descendant of the oud. They took an oud and they took some, well, actually it was gut, and put frets on it. So the oud itself doesn't have frets. And then from the whole medieval era, they developed a whole bunch of other instruments, a theorbo and what are some of the other ones? Maybe, Devin, you know?
It's an arch lute.
The arch lute with the real. Have you ever seen some of Sting's performances? He plays some of these instruments and sings some of these old songs. Really kind of interesting, but carry on.
Well, you brought up a good point. I'm going to digress for just a second. Ron used the word frets, okay? And for those of you who play stringed instruments, I want to show you what that is and why they're there, okay? These are these silver wires that bisect our fingerboards, okay? And they are there, and this is what made the mandolin so accessible for the common man, okay? You can put your finger anywhere in the spaces between these two frets, and you'll get an accurate note, which is really great, okay? You know, because you can sit there and you can, you know, drink all you want, you can still come up with a great mandolin thing, okay? But I think Devin has the biggest frets, so if you don't mind, will you demonstrate that? Put your finger in between a fret and all sorts of different spaces and,
Yeah.
okay. See, so he's covering that much territory, and he still gets the same sound out of that, which is why these instruments have frets. But the point is that every culture, okay, on the planet uses an instrument similar to the mandolin, if not the mandolin itself, and that's what we're going to show you, okay? And we're going to play you an Irish tune that includes mandolins. This one's called the Ballydesmond Polkas, and for those of you who never gave it a thought, yes, the Irish do polka, okay? So these are polkas, okay?
The tempo is a little different than our traditional Polish and Eastern European polka, a little more subdued. Well, except when we get carried away, so, which might happen.
Yeah,
Trying to get the dancers off the
maybe,
floor.
maybe.
Here we go.
actually alluded to something that was going on there in Irish sessions. That speed up is the way that the musicians chase the dancers off the floor, so because they want to go and get a drink and go to the bathroom and whatever. So that they do that intentionally. So, all right. So now we're going to show you how the Venezuelan application of the mandolin. Okay, and this is a tune that a lot of you might know. This is called La Partida. Now we're going to address the Italian question seriously, okay? And first of all, we're going to just flat out tell you we're not playing That's Amore because that's not Italian, okay? That was written by an American. His name was Harry Warren, okay? But we're going to play for you a song by Italy's most prolific composer, whose name was Raphael Collacci. and he was not only a composer, but he was also a luthier, meaning that he made mandolins. And his music and his mandolins are much cherished, okay, among mandolin players to this day, okay. But this one is an example of real, true, traditional Italian mandolin music, okay. This one is called Tarantella, and it's not the Tarantella that you know, though, okay. This is a really cool Tarantella, okay. And this one features Ron, okay, on the mandolin on this, so hold on to your seats, because this one goes fast.
Anyone been bitten by a tarantula? You know, that's what you're supposed to do, dance tarantella,
Yeah.
and work all the poison out of your system. The one thing, the Caracci was a noted luthier and maker of mandolins, but he made the Italian-style mandolins, which had a rounded or bowl-shaped back, and they have a very different sound, a much lighter sound. So if you happen to hear, you know, an Italian group, they're going to have a different sound. These are the American version of the mandolin, the flat back, and you'll hear them in the mandolin orchestras and, of course, in bluegrass groups. But anyway, so we're going to do an Italian tarantella on American mandolins.
There we
Go
go.
figure. Here we go. 1, 2.
to go to Spain and show you how the mandolin was used in Spain. And in order to do this, we're going to feature our fine guitar player here, Devin Sherman. Okay, this is a Spanish tune from 1896 called Recuerdos de la Alhambra. And translated, that means memories of the Alhambra, which was a museum in Spain, apparently. So, all right.
It was actually a castle, fortress built by the Moors when they invaded Spain and reigned there for several centuries before they were finally driven out by the French under Charlemagne, I believe, if I remember my history correctly.
I don't remember. I wasn't alive then, so.
I didn't know that.
Meow!
Sorry,
All right, no, that's okay.
very temperamental.
Yeah,
Yeah, they get that way.
he's big. I was just checking mine. Yeah. Sherman on guitar. Okay. Now, okay, Ron alluded to this before, but of course, mandolins are used in America. So we're going to show you the American application, okay, and show you how they're used in bluegrass and old-time music. So I just switched to my mandolin, but if you give me a minute, I'm just going to check my tuning. Not bad. Okay, all right. And this one is called Little Rabbit. This is a traditional American folk tune, okay? All right, ready, guys? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take a moment and introduce formally the people in the band here. On our lead mandolin, we have Ron Lupish from Green Tree. Okay, and Ron, just trivia, is the former pipe master of the McDonald Pipe Band.
Pipe major,
I'm sorry.
please. Come on,
Major,
get
pipe
right.
major. Okay, all right. Okay, Jan Thomas. Okay, is on mandolin too. Okay, and she's from Bridgeville. And I have to give a shout out to Jan because and kind of like some encouragement to you guys too. Okay, because Jan has been playing the mandolin for how many years?
About 10.
Okay, about 10 years, okay. And she started to learn the mandolin when she inherited that instrument from her mom, okay. So I just wanted to tell you that
It's never too late.
it's never too late, yes, exactly, okay. And another fine example of that is this guy back here, okay, Mark Smith, who has been playing bass for how many years? 10, he says. Okay, but he's been playing bass for about 10 years too, and he's almost 70, believe it or not. Okay, so he is a very late starter, but you know, he's up here and he's playing, which is just great. Okay, now Devin Sherman, okay, here on guitar. Devin's from Carnegie. I'm from Carroll Palmer. I'm on mandola, banjo, mandolin, and fiddle today because not that Ron can't. Not that Ron can't do this too. He just didn't feel like bringing all the instruments, so that that's no. But and we're all part of the Pittsburgh Mandolin Society. But for now, we're going to continue to play, and I think we're going to play the latest song that we do, which was from like 1978. I think that's the most current one that we do. This one's called Moon Dance, and this one's by Van Morrison. Okay. All right. Ready, guys? Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
requires no introduction.
That's true. It wouldn't be Pittsburgh without one of these. So let's just go right into it,
Right,
shall we?
okay.
Kick it off, Ron. So now we're going to go back to Ireland for a little visit. Okay, I'm going to switch over. I gotta check my tuning real quick on this. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so what we're going to play now is a collection of Irish dances that are called slip jigs. Okay, and a lot of you know the Irish washerwoman. It's a very famous jig. Okay, and you think da 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 da. Yeah, thank you. Okay, all right. That's in a time signature that is 6/8. Okay, and this one, these, if you listen to them, they sound different than the Irish washerwoman, and the reason is because these are in 9/8, and that's what makes them a slip jig. Okay, but this is Barney, Broligan, Hardiman the Fielder, and Another Jig Will Do, all mushed together. So just like the Irish.
Not all at the same time.
I think we should.
Something new, something different.
go back to 1945, okay, and we're going to see, this is another one of these songs that we tested you on, okay, like on Moonglow, okay, where we asked if you could recognize this song by the verse. And this is another one where we play the part that is not commonly heard, okay? So if you recognize that part, if you can tell what this song is from that, just wave your hand and let us know that you know it, because we'll think you're cool, okay? And then,
Very, very cool.
yeah, okay. All right.
One, two, three, four.
There we go. Okay, now we talked about Paul McCartney composing When I'm 64 when he was 16 years old. And we're going to do another song for you that was composed by a 16-year-old Mexican girl named Consuelo Velasquez. Okay, now this song is called Bésame Mucho, which when translated means kiss me a lot. Uh-oh.
One, two, three, four.
Okay, we're gonna go back and do another Irish tune, and and this is an Irish waltz, and we're playing it because most people don't know that the Irish did waltz as well. But there was a composer in Ireland who was really famous and who was responsible for most of the bulk of their folk tunes, okay, that exist today. And his name was Turlough O'Carolan, and he was a blind harper, okay. And this piece was composed in honor of Turlough O'Carolan to settle a feud, actually. So, all right.
Already?
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close out the music portion of our show with the masterpiece of the traditional mandolin orchestra music. Okay, this is the pinnacle right here. So we'll see if we can play this right or not. Okay, but before we play it, we just wanted to say thank you so much because you've been such a great audience,
yeah.
and we really thank you so
Thank
much
you all
for
for
your
coming.
attention and your appreciation. And we also want to say thank you to Lisa Joe.
Lisa
Okay,
Jo.
thank you, Lisa Joe, okay, for telling us about this program because, you know, otherwise we would not have been here. So, all right, here we are, All the Rage.
1, 2, 1,